When this franchise stepped out of the shadows, it stole the spotlight. For a time at least. Welcome to MojoPlays, and today we're going to dive into the origins of the Assassin's Creed series. Before we begin, be sure to subscribe to MojoPlays and click on the links in the description to vote on upcoming content. Ubisoft began as part of a family business for farmers. In the 1980s, the Guillemot brothers were employed at their parents' farming company in France. Over time, they got the idea to buy and distribute video games throughout their country. When that model proved quite successful, they decided to start making games of their own, under the name Ubisoft. Fast forward to 1995, and their Rayman game was a critical and financial hit. After that success, they acquired the Learning Company's entertainment division in 2001, which gave them the rights to the Prince of Persia franchise. Ubisoft used that license to reboot the franchise and create Prince of Persia: Sands of Time. When that game also turned out to be a big old hit, they immediately started planning its sequel. They tapped the creative director Sands of Time, Patrice Désilets, to lead the new project. But he and his team didn't want to focus on the prince. Désilets' team wanted to bring in a new assassin character. In the original concept, gamers would play as an assassin that is protecting a prince while fighting off Templars and other threats. The team's early work was so impressive that they were given the approval to drop the prince and create an entirely new game. This team was inspired by the real and fictional accounts of Hassan-is-Sabah. In 1094 AD, the controversial figure was a wanted man with a group of loyal followers. After he took control of the Alamut fortress in Persia, his supporters became notorious for their covert and sometimes violent tactics against Hassan's enemies. Their reputation earned them the derogatory nickname Hashashin, the word that eventually became assassin.
Somos asesinos.
Both the setting and objective of the first game honored this story. Developers recreated cities like Jerusalem and Damascus with painstaking detail. For gameplay, the player would use a combination of stealth, planning, and close combat to eliminate their targets. The team also split the main narrative between two characters. For certain sections of the game, you would play as Desmond, a bartender in the present day who is kidnapped by the shadowy Abstergo Company. He is forced to enter a machine known as the Animus to relive the memories of his assassin ancestor, Altair. In 2007, Désilets' team would finally show the world the culmination of all their hard work.
Your actions indicate otherwise, and so you leave me no choice.
Assassin's Creed's original premise and gameplay immediately stood out. Gamers loved the freedom, beautiful environments, and the fun of assassinating their enemies. However, they also criticized the game for repetitive missions, simplistic combat, and certain characters. Desmond. Overall though, the game's positives far outweighed its weaker aspects, and with sales far exceeding what Ubisoft expected, they started work on the sequel. To build the sequel, Ubisoft nearly tripled the size of the development team. While the narrative would still focus on Desmond in the future, players would now follow the adventures of the assassin Ezio in the past. To complement the new protagonist's Italian background, the team ventured to Italy for inspiration. On the technical side, they also aimed to address criticisms of the first game while adding fresh features. This meant better combat came packaged with upgrades like a day-night cycle, better missions, and more fluid movement. After releasing a spin-off game in 2008, Ubisoft released Assassin's Creed II in 2009. Ubisoft's efforts were definitely appreciated. Fans loved Ezio, while critics complimented the expanded world and responsive changes. Within the first week, the game sold 1.6 million units and was subject to an award buzz. But not everything went smoothly. The PC version of the game required users to be constantly connected to Ubisoft's servers or risk losing their game progress. After complaints rolled in, Ubisoft removed that requirement. Despite those issues though, the company had another banner year with a successful sequel and 2 additional spin-offs. By gathering the resources of 5 studios, they were poised to deliver a new main title the following year. The departure of creative director Patrice Désilets didn't stop Ubisoft from releasing 3 main titles and 2 spin-off games. Between the multi-layered narrative in Revelations, to Assassin's Creed 3's expansive American Revolution setting, and Assassin's Creed 4 putting the franchise on the ocean for the first time, there were plenty of new experiences for fans of the franchise. However, there was concern that Ubisoft's relentless production cycle would cause problems for the acclaimed series. In 2014, those concerns became a reality.
The city is in chaos. We must turn the tide.
2014 saw the release of 3 more Assassin's Creed titles. While one was another spin-off, the other were 2 main franchise titles. Assassin's Creed Rogue was set to release on 7th generation consoles the same day that Unity came out on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, the 8th generation consoles. Rogue was criticized for its lack of compelling missions and new elements. It was also shorter than the previous main titles in the series. But its drawbacks couldn't compare to Unity's reception. Assassin's Creed Unity couldn't seem to move an inch without stirring up controversy. In the co-op multiplayer mode, players noticed that they couldn't play as a female character. When asked about the exclusion, Ubisoft creative director said that creating female options required too much additional work to fit into the game. Considering that Ubisoft previously had a female protagonist named Aveline in a spin-off title, this explanation didn't really satisfy a lot of fans. Although the company tried to address that controversy, they really couldn't ignore the bugs and accusation of slowing down the frame rate on the PlayStation 4. To their credit, they did offer a free game to customers for Unity's issues, if they waived their right to sue the company. All in all, 2014 was not a great year for Ubisoft.
I have to do this myself.
After sales numbers slipped for 2015's Assassin's Creed Syndicate, Ubisoft took the hint to slow down in 2016. For the first time in 7 years, they did not release a main Assassin's Creed title. With negative opinions and the possibility of franchise fatigue, they nonetheless went to work on 2017's Assassin's Creed Origins. This entry promised to take gamers back to the founding of the Assassin's Order, while taking us to the expanded setting of Egypt. The year-long break proved to be just what the Doctor ordered too, as Origins received praise and comparisons to other favorites in the franchise. It also left fans and critics hopeful that Assassin's Creed could still offer new and fresh experiences. With over 100 million games sold and an undeniable mark on pop culture, it's pretty remarkable how far this series has come from Ubisoft's humble beginnings. Although it has hit a few bumps in the road, like the live-action film, the franchise keeps getting back up every time it's knocked down. With no shortage of ideas or limits to where Ubisoft can go next, it's safe to say that anything is permitted for the Assassins. Thanks for watching MojoPlays. Be sure to subscribe and click on the link in the description below to check out our suggestion page and vote on what content you'd like to see us cover next.